Hannah did not live long after the birth of her daughter Maryam, and before that, Lady Maryam's father Imran had passed away while Hannah was still pregnant. So Maryam remained an orphan with neither a father nor a mother. After the incident at the River Jordan, Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam took Maryam and brought her to stay with his wife Eesaa. Maryam remained under her care and supervision until she got older. According to the majority, Eesaa was Maryam's older sister, and it was also said that Eesaa was Maryam's aunt, that is her mother's sister, and the wife of Zakaria. Allah Ta'ala said in the Quran, وَأَنبَتَهَا نَبَاتًا حَسَنًا وَكَفَّلَهَا زَكَرِيَّا. This means Lady Maryam was raised well. Allah Ta'ala granted Lady Hannah a beautiful young daughter, and she was also the most beautiful woman of her type and the most perfect. She had a complete figure. It was said that she would grow in a day as much as a child would grow in a year. It was also mentioned that she spoke when she was a child, just as her son was to speak in the cradle. She was never breastfed. Rather, she used to be fed from the unseen in a special way. Maryam had a good, pious upbringing. She was protected from all things that contradicted al-Islam. When she reached an age where she was considered a woman now, Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam built a mihrab in the masjid for her. And the mihrab is the best place inside of the masjid. He constructed a mihrab for her, that is a room which a person would ascend to by using some sort of ladder. No one entered upon her except Prophet Zakaria and Yusuf al-Najjar, Joseph the carpenter. Yusuf al-Najjar was her paternal uncle's son, so her cousin, and he was also amongst those who served the masjid from a young age. He is Yusuf, the son of Yaqub, the son of Mathan, and Lady Maryam is the daughter of Imran, the son of Mathan. So whenever Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam entered upon Lady Maryam, Yusuf al-Najjar accompanied him. Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam would care for her a lot and follow her up. He would lock the door after leaving the mihrab and keep the key with him. If she menstruated, he would bring her to his house to stay with her sister. Lady Maryam was an example for others amongst the people of Bani Israel when it came to her worship, because she spent her days and her nights worshipping Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, كلما دخل عليها زكريا المحراب وجد عندها رزقا. As Allah mentioned, every time Zakaria entered onto her while she was in her mihrab, he would find food with her that he was not used to finding, food that he did not bring to her. He would find with her summer fruits in the winter and winter fruits in the summer. This happened many times until he asked her one time out of amazement about how this sustenance reaches her. قال يا مريم أنى لك هذا. He asked her, O Maryam, where is this sustenance coming to you from? That is, this sustenance that does not resemble the sustenance of the dunya, of the world, which you receive outside of its season. قالت هو من عند الله إن الله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. Maryam said to him, This is from Allah, so do not think it to be far-fetched. Indeed, Allah grants whomever He wills, however much He wills. Her sustenance actually descended to her from paradise. But when she gave him this answer, his heart became tranquil, because he knew that he was witnessing an honorable station and a special caring for someone whom Allah the Exalted has chosen, and that he was the one whom Allah willed to raise her and take care of her. This matter was a karamah, an extraordinary matter for Lady Maryam. Zakaria alayhi salam was approximately 99 years old at the time, and his wife Eesaa was 98. When he saw this, he made his own dua to be blessed with a child. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَرْيَمَ إِذِ انتبذت من أهلها مكانا شرقيا. Lady Maryam sought seclusion for worshipping and to perform ghusl from her menses in a place that was east of Baytul Maqdis. فَاتَّخَذَتْ مِن دُونِهِمْ حِجَابًا. She concealed herself from the eyes of the people so that she could worship Allah and bathe to purify herself from the menses. فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا رُوحَنَا فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. Allah Ta'ala sent Angel Jibreel alayhi salam to Lady Maryam in the form of a young, beardless human male who had a bright face and curly hair as well as a perfect build. He was sent in the form of a human so that Maryam would be able to relate to another human. Had he appeared to her in the form of an angel, this would have been an overwhelming experience, one that would have prevented her from hearing what he has come to tell her. And as it is known, the angels are neither males nor females. If they appear in the shape of a human, they would only appear in the shape of a man, however, without the male private parts. قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا. قال إنما أنا رسول ربك لأهب لك غلاما زكيا. She said to him what means, I seek refuge with Allah from you if you are God-fearing. This means, if you are pious, do not come near me, because she thought he was a human. He told her he brings no harm to her and that he is an angel sent from Allah to gift her a child, and that she would become pregnant in a special way with an elite child, a chaste child, a child free of sins. قالت أنى يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر ولم أك بغيا. She said, How would I have a child when no man has ever touched me in wedlock? That is, I've never been married. And I do not have relationships with men outside of wedlock. That is, I am not a fornicator. قال كذلك. Jibreel alayhi salam said to her, this is true, that what she is saying is true. She has not been touched by a male in wedlock, nor outside of wedlock. Then he continued to say to her, قال ربك هو علي هين لنجعله آية للناس ورحمة منا وكان أمرا مقضيا. He told her that it is easy for Allah to grant someone a child without a father, and that Allah will give her this child as a sign of the power of Allah for the people. This sign of the power of Allah will be a mercy for those who believe in Him. Then he told her, this is a matter that Allah has eternally willed, and it is written in the guarded tablet, meaning it will happen. When she was no longer afraid of him, he drew closer to her and he blew the soul into the top of her gown that she was wearing. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَإِذْ قَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ يَا مَرْيَمُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَاكِ وَطَهَّرَكِ وَاصْطَفَاكِ عَلَى نِسَاءِ الْعَالَمِينَ. The angel said to Maryam, O Maryam, indeed Allah has chosen you and purified you and chosen you over all the women of the world. The angels actually spoke to her and said this. They told her that Allah Ta'ala has chosen her by accepting her as a vow from her mother. Then they mentioned to her that Allah purified her, meaning from all the disliked traits. Then they continued to say that Allah chose her over all the women of the world, and this means that Allah Ta'ala chose Lady Maryam to be the mother of our Master Eesaa, Jesus, alayhi salam, without him having a father, and that this was something that was not given to anyone else except her. يا مريم اقنتي لربك واسجدي واركعي مع الراكعين. O Maryam, be consistent upon worship and obedience, and lengthen the time that you spend in prayer, and be amongst those counted as one who prays. فحملته فانتبذت به مكانا قصيا. Lady Maryam was just shy of 20 years of age at the time she became pregnant. When she felt the time was near, she left and disappeared out of people's sight behind a mountain, fearing that they would accuse her of indecency. فأجاءها المخاض إلى جذع النخلة قالت يا ليتني مت قبل هذا وكنت نسيا منسيا. The pains of childbirth brought her out to a palm tree out in the open. She struggled towards its thick, dry trunk. It was winter time. She said as a result of her great suffering, "Oh, how I wish that I had died before this and was something completely forgotten, or something that was not known and not mentioned." فناداها من تحتها ألا تحزني قد جعل ربك تحتك سريا. Angel Jibreel alayhi salam appeared from a lower place and called out to her, saying, "Do not be worried about your loneliness, your shortage of food and drink, and what the people will say. Allah Ta'ala has provided for you a small river. It is said that Jibreel alayhi salam hit the ground and an old river channel began gushing with water. And the dry palm tree flourished with greenery and ripe dates. وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ تُسَاقِطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطَبًا جَنِيًّا. Jibreel alayhi salam ordered her to pull the trunk of the palm tree to herself so that ripe dates would fall from it. It is said that the best fruit for a postpartum bleeding woman is dates. فَكُلِي وَاشْرَبِي وَقَرِّي عَيْنًا. Jibreel ordered her to eat from the dates, drink from the river, and look at her son. That is, to look at the apple of her eye and seek pleasure in looking at him, that this will make her forget what had saddened her. فَإِمَّا تَرَيِنَّ مِنَ الْبَشَرِ أَحَدًا فَقُولِي إِنِّي نَذَرْتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ صَوْمًا فَلَنْ أُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمَ إِنسِيًّا. If you see a human asking about you and your child, then inform the people that you have vowed for the sake of Allah not to speak. She made a sign by which they understood. In her time, it was permissible for them to fast, refraining from speech. But in our nation, this is not allowed. The reason she was told to refrain from speaking was because her son would speak on her behalf and show her innocence. فَأَتَتْ بِهِ قَوْمَهَا تَحْمِلُهُ قَالُوا يَا مَرْيَمُ لَقَدْ جِئْتِ شَيْئًا فَرِيًّا. Then she came carrying her son after she had become pure of her 40 days of postpartum bleeding. The people said to her, "Indeed, Maryam, you have done something awful, something strange, and something we have not expected. يا أخت هارون ما كان أبوك امرأ سوء وما كانت أمك بغيا." When they saw her, they said to her, "O sister of Harun." Some of the scholars said that she had a brother from her father's side called Harun, who was a very pious person. Others said that there was a very famous pious man during her time called Harun, whom they associated her with because of her piety. They continued to say, "Your father was not a fornicator, and your mother was not a prostitute." فَأَشَارَتْ إِلَيْهِ قَالُوا كَيْفَ نُكَلِّمُ مَنْ كَانَ فِي الْمَهْدِ صَبِيًّا. She had been ordered by Angel Jibreel to point at her child. She pointed at him with her index finger. When she did that, they became angry, and they said to her, "How would we talk to a small child, one that would usually be in a cradle?" قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا. The 40-day-old baby spoke while in the arms of his mother, saying, "I am the slave of Allah. He will reveal a book to me and send me as a prophet. وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ وَأَوْصَانِي بِالصَّلَاةِ وَالزَّكَاةِ مَا دُمْتُ حَيًّا. Allah has created me beneficial wherever I go, and He ordered me with praying and paying az-zakah. وَبَرًّا بِوَالِدَتِي وَلَمْ يَجْعَلْنِي جَبَّارًا شَقِيًّا. He made me good to my mother and generous to her, as well as someone who would honor her, and He did not make me an arrogant person who harms his mother severely. وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيَّ يَوْمَ وُلِدتُّ وَيَوْمَ أَمُوتُ وَيَوْمَ أُبْعَثُ حَيًّا. Allah has granted me safety from the devil from the day I was born, and safety from the questioning in the grave, and safety on the Day of Judgment. After this, the people knew that Allah Ta'ala granted Lady Maryam a very special status. We ask Allah Ta'ala to raise the rank of Prophet Eesaa alayhi salam, Jesus, and his honorable mother, Lady Maryam, the best woman that Allah Ta'ala created. And Allah Ta'ala knows best.